Let me start with an inspiring quote. Empowering women is a prerequisite for creating a good nation. When women are empowered, society with stability is assured, as quoted by Dr. Abdul Kalam. It is always a great happiness at the end of the knowledge sharing process, and the inspiration left in the minds of the learners add meaning to the module being covered. In the globalized world, which always experiences constant changes, women play a critical role for the sustained economic development and social progress. Women globally earn 24% lesser than men, taking great efforts in settling with a quality job and accrue the significant benefits attached with those jobs. If we attempt to find the role of women in business and entrepreneurship, the Global Entrepreneurship and Development Institute, in its document of 2015, had mentioned female entrepreneurs are innovative, market expanding, and export oriented. Women entrepreneurs represent one-third of the world's total entrepreneurs. According to Harvard Business Review's survey in 2013, there are 126 million women who have started and running business globally. Dear learners, the data looks really encouraging. The new generation women across the globe have conquered all limitations and have established themselves in all spheres of life, including the most complex and challenging world of entrepreneurship. It is very thoughtful and pertinent to learn about the role of women in business and entrepreneurship as women themselves are creating micro-global entrepreneurial environment. India has steadily evolved as a knowledge-based economy due to the plethora of competent, flexible, and skilled human capital. With the constantly increasing effect of globalization, India has enormous opportunities to establish its unique position in the world. However, there is a need to further widen and empower the human capital to ensure the nation's global competitiveness. The human capital constitutes the talent of both male and female capabilities, which fortifies the national competitiveness. This slide takes us through the topic on bridging skill gap. Estimates had shown by 2020 over 60% of the new jobs created will necessitate skills that less than 20% of the workforce possesses. Since women make up half of the world's population, they actually outnumber men in university attendance and graduation. They can make an essential contribution to bridging the skill gap, but only if the ecosystem exists. In India, as per the Business Report 2014 and survey published in May 2015 in Business Standard, expresses that women-owned enterprises contribute 3.09% of industrial output and employ over 8 million people. About 98% of women-owned enterprises, however, are micro-enterprises. It is important to address these gaps in knowledge, skills, and attitudes through capacity enhancement programs. The majority of the new roles that will be created between now and 2020 will have a technological component. But this technological component will not necessarily entail coding or other technology-specific skills. Instead, the roles will focus on using technologies to enable processes. The new digital landscape will provide impetus both in employment and entrepreneurship. This will open several opportunities which can empower them to build and scale their businesses. This enabling technology offers financial, personal, and operational support in weaving a successful future. The women in workplace too are short of skills in all their career stages of career, like beginners, matured, and experienced. Each phase demand different set of skill sets, but it is understood there is a drastic skill gap. The organizations need to promote new initiatives to utilize the fullest potentials and engage women more actively in scaling organizational excellence. This will result in reduction in the gap, and thus product champions can emerge and intrapreneurship is promoted, paving way for successful entrepreneurship in the future. We are going to see how the skill gap that exists in each phase of the career path of women and the solutions to reduce the gaps are also suggested. At the beginner stage, the technical skills learned in the tertiary education will be adequate for women to succeed in their early years of their careers. The lack of role models within organizations and the absence of an accommodating environment are among the few bottlenecks towards women's success. The women in their mid-career are matured and will be succumbed to various challenges of work-life balance. She is forced to take up several roles and finds it difficult to cope with the expectations. This stage of career requires advanced and critical skills for accomplishments of the target set. Women themselves find difficult to address the issues in this stage as they are well experienced. Women might be in a board or become senior manager or starting a venture. This envisages the core career stage and demands superior skill set as they move higher in their aspirations and positions. Let's now see how entrepreneurs who spin off from parent organizations can play a vital role in galvanizing entrepreneurship. The promotion of entrepreneurship can really bridge the skill and talent gap that hampers the progress of entrepreneurship. Government can plan more training centers, centers of excellence, innovation centers and incubators. It is an appreciable effort that National Skill Development Corporation has ambitiously targeting to skill and upskill 500 million people by 2022 in India through its national policy on skill development. The dynamic economies require high-level talents that are also innovative, risk-taking, flexible, and responding to changing conditions. The education from primary till higher level to be more relevant to labor market needs. There is a need to develop not only the right job skills but also train students on vocational skills, inspiring to depend on their specific skills and become entrepreneurs of their own style. It is essential to see how various institutions work to bridge the skill gap both in formal and informal sector. There are institutes like National Skills Development Agency, National Skill Development Corporation, University Grants Commission, Directorate General of Training, National Institute of Open Schooling, Jan Shikshan Sansthan, Industrial Training Institutes and Industrial Training Centers, Polytechnic Education Institutions, Krishi Vigyan Kendra, training institutes like EDI, Entrepreneurship Development Institute of India, Indian Institute of Entrepreneurship Development, National Institute of Small Industries Entrepreneur Training, National Institute of Entrepreneurship Development and Small Business Development. The other training for the informal sector includes certain programs given by the Ministry of Rural Development, which administers schemes aimed at creating sustained employment opportunities to secure a certain minimum level of employment and income for the rural poor. That includes Jawahar Rozgar Yojana, Employment Assurance Scheme, Integrated Rural Development Program, Program for Development of Women and Children, Training of Rural Youth for Self-Employment. Skills and knowledge are the engines of economic growth and social development of any country. Countries with higher and better levels of knowledge and skills respond more effectively and promptly to challenges and opportunities of globalization. Government of India has implemented a technical quality improvement program with the assistance from the World Bank to improve the quality of education and enhance the capabilities of the technical institutions to become dynamic, demand-driven, quality-conscious and competitive at national and international levels. Effective skill development systems connecting education to technical training to labor market entry and labor market entry to workplace and lifelong learning can help women benefit from existing and emerging opportunities. The government can plan stringent vocational education towards skill development at all levels from post-primary to tertiary education, both through formal and non-formal, so that the skill gap may be reduced considerably. The National Vocational Education Qualification Framework requires the vocational education institutions that are registered under a body and offer certificates. Such initiatives will prove that India is working towards bridging the skill gap and develop the future-ready talent pool. The Government of India has defined women entrepreneurs as an enterprise owned and controlled by women, having a minimum financial interest of 51% of the capital and at least 51% of the employment generated in the enterprise to women. With appropriate education, work experience, improving economic conditions and financial opportunities, many will be in a better position to become successful entrepreneur. There are a lot of issues that need to be addressed, like lack of microfinance, skill set, marginalization, poor access to microcredit revolving schemes, poor access to financial resources, political and educational investment opportunities, rigid and male-dominated market conditions, cultural and social impediments, etc. Women in India are faced with many challenges to get ahead their life in business. The constraints are discussed among women in business and entrepreneurship in Indian context. The constraints may be in the form of credit accessibility. Lack of financial support as an initial startup for entrepreneurs has been a major concern for young and emerging entrepreneurs due to lack of financial discipline and unfair dealing by some banks. The financial institutions are skeptical about the entrepreneurial abilities of women. The next point is related to savings. It is considered as an element of microfinance. If they have more savings, there is an increase in the amount of fixed capital available, which can be used for widening the business and further growth. Lack of business networks. It is essential to affiliate with other business group members, government bureaucracy, and less bargaining power, all of which further limit their growth. Business network provides emotional support, social persuasion, and sensational experience to determine the performance of the firm and to achieve organizational excellence. Lack of business and technical knowledge. Women often lack access to training and experience in marketing and business management that will strengthen the activities towards achieving their stated objectives. Women entrepreneurs' ability to enter into new markets require technical expertise, business knowledge, and strong social connections. Next is related to training and education. It has been reported that most women entrepreneurs in developing economies lack training and skill, which consistently affect their growth and organizational advancement. There are traditional barriers which play a major role in hampering the development of women entrepreneurs. Since women are expected to satisfy domestic needs of the family as per the family tradition, they get no motivation or support to build a business of their own. There are personal barriers like lack of motivation, aversion of taking risk, lack of specific skills and knowledge, poor self-esteem, lack of creativity, etc., which hinders the growth of women entrepreneurs. It is to be noted that many studies and surveys found the following hindering factors like failure of business, failure to convert profit back into investment, shortage of technical skills, poor managerial skills, low level of education and training, limited access to credit, difficulty in obtaining loan from commercial banks, limited microcredit financial support, weak public sector support system. There is a SWOT matrix which helps to identify the strength, weakness, opportunity, and challenges. It has been categorized into 4 aspects based on strength, weakness, opportunity, threats. It comprehends the strengths of women entrepreneurs. Maybe they are very strong mentally, more patient and encouraged, improved risk-taking ability, they are innovative, they have high self-esteem. Under weakness, it can be noted that ignorance and illiteracy, lack of proper risk-taking abilities, unhealthy physical and mental ability, lack of own fund of women entrepreneurs to start the venture. External factors are related to opportunities and threats. To quote a few, it may be free entry into SMEs and improved technology and financial aids, encouragement to innovations and inventions, promotion of healthy competition, and the major challenges include problems of raising capital, difficulty in borrowing fund, mushrooming growth of competitors, etc. We have to focus on how the obstacles may be removed by concentrating on few issues like women entrepreneurs need to start a business that works, research the product and service, assess the market before the launch, start the business with adequate funds available, develop effective networking, consult with professionals, opening of women development cells, assistance in project formulation and follow-up of training programs, credit facilities, financial incentives and subsidies, development of women entrepreneurship park, provide training to equip with technical and business acumen, proper follow-up mechanism and documentation. Such steps would enhance the potential to increase productivity, create employment, reduce poverty, and promote local development. When it comes to the role of women in business and entrepreneurship, women entrepreneurs play a vital role and have become important part of the global quest for the sustained economic development and social progress. In India, though women have played a key role in the society, their entrepreneurial ability has not been properly tapped due to the lower status of women in the society. The role of women entrepreneur in economic development is inevitable. Women are also willing to take a business and contribute to the nation's growth. Women entrepreneurship must be molded properly with entrepreneurial traits and skills to meet the changes in trends of global markets and also be competent enough to sustain and strive for excellence in the entrepreneurial arena. Undoubtedly, women's economic activities contribute directly to the growth and development of the economy in ways like capital formation, improvement in per capita income, employment generation, balanced regional development. The women entrepreneurs are directly or indirectly playing an essential role in environmental protection, backward and forward integration, and are acting as change agents, thus contributing to the economic growth of the country. There are certain advantages of women entrepreneurship. Women's sustainable development, especially rural women, are not so easy but rather a challenge one. Micro-entrepreneurship is an answer to this challenge. Micro-entrepreneur will help the economy to solve unemployment problems and other advantages like shaping personal and social capabilities, develop strong network ties, professional independence, enhance the self-confidence, improved living condition, greater recognition and social prestige, dare to participate in political affairs, solve family and village issues when they arise, economic empowerment. The role of women in micro, small and cottage industry is also inevitable. Even though we observe a number of women entrepreneurs in the business, recent studies show that most of them are found in micro, cottage and small enterprises. According to World Bank, women entrepreneurs in medium-small enterprises are the engine of growth for a competitive and efficient market, critical for poverty reduction and play an important role in developing countries. Their entry into the marketplace has raised income levels, improved the lives of their families and helped stabilize their communities. Now, those women-run startups need more financing to grow into larger enterprises so that their positive social impact can rise too. The constraints like inadequate finance, raw material shortage, less market access, low level of technology, competition from large industries really reduce the number of women entering into micro, small and cottage industries. This turns the situation very precarious to progress in this sector especially. When it comes to women in family business, they remain consistently underrepresented in the senior management positions. There is one sector where they are leading in far greater than average number is family business. A survey report by a business consultancy found that globally, family-owned and family-controlled business have higher percentage of women in the top management position and on the board than any other type of companies. Certain important survey findings are family-owned and family-controlled business. There are 4 women being groomed for top leadership position. A majority 70% were considering women as their next CEO. 55% of the companies surveyed have at least one woman on their board, and in general, boards of these companies average 16% women. Companies with more women in leadership increase focus on corporate governance, corporate responsibility, talent dynamics, and market acumen. Publicly listed companies with women on the board tend to outperform those without in such key metrics as share price, return on equity, and net income improvement. A gender balanced board is also associated with better corporate social performance in community, customers, environment, and supply chain. So we have specified certain role models in India, and the role models specified are Sulaja Firodia Motwani, the Joint Managing Director of Kinetic Engineering, Shobna Bhatia, Chairperson and Editorial Director of Hindustan Times Media, Preeta Reddy, Executive Vice Chairman, Apollo Hospital Enterprises. To look at the entrepreneurial ideas, after exhaustive reading and assessment of entrepreneurial ventures, I have categorized few ideas under different categories that can be considered as a new entrepreneurial venture or in the form of franchising too. It is amazing to note that new ideas like green consulting, e-kiranas, affiliate marketing, image consulting, virtual assistants are making good business. Next comes a business plan. A business plan is the underpinning or a springboard towards the establishment and growth of a new business. A business plan is an essential tool for companies raising capital, and the business plan needs to be investor ready. It should focus on operations and management plans, product market description, brand positioning, marketing plan, customer competitive analysis, revenue model, risk management and financial. The next is on resource mobilization. Major challenge in entrepreneurship is rising fund. Certain ideas are shared how the resources may be mobilized. That includes connect to the right people, seek corporate and government support, assess different funding options, crowdfunding, look for women angel investors. All these would help in mobilizing resources in an effective manner. We have demonstrated the support system that would create an enabling environment for women's entrepreneurship. There is an ecosystem built by the credit institutions, promotional institutions and regulatory institutions. There are certain women development associations like Awake, Seva, which tries to help the women entrepreneurship to thrive in the challenging world. There are special schemes for women entrepreneurs implemented by the government bodies and allied institutions like IRDP, KVIC, TRISOM, PMRY, EDPs, Women's Development Corporations. There is an elaboration of success stories of women in business and entrepreneurship, which covers the successful entrepreneurs like Sakshi Tulsian, Sabrina Chopra, Kiran Mazumdar-Shah, and a must-read success story of Kalpana Saroj. To conclude, entrepreneurship is the key to the creation of new enterprises that energize and rejuvenate the economy. Entrepreneurship serves as the catalyst in the process of industrialization and economic growth. The role of women entrepreneur in economic development is also being recognized, and steps are being taken to promote women entrepreneurship. As women workforce is promptly available to exploit the unexplored dimensions of business ventures for sustainable development. In the VUCA world, that is volatility, uncertainty, complexity and ambiguity, country needs the human capital to the fullest extent in finding a concrete space in the global economy. There is a need for multi-dimensional approach from different sectors, namely from the government side, financial institutions, trade associations and the individual women entrepreneurs, for a flexible, integrated and coordinated specific approach. In considering the Indian economy, the fact that almost half the population of this large country comprises of females, while business owned and operated by them constitute less than 5%, is a reflection on social, cultural as well as economic setbacks in the decades of development. There are many challenges in successfully initiating and establishing an enterprise like finance, technology adoption, market reach, skill set, product and market issues, a right support system. All these alone can create a better ecosystem for a women entrepreneur to sustain and create a remarkable impact on the nation's development.